What's going on, everybody? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. This video is going to be dedicated to you. And so this is something that I've struggled with before, very little now, but it all depends on what it is. And it's about setting your own limitations and how actually you want to break all your limitations. Because as soon as you say something about a certain situation, activity, problem, whatever it is, then it's gonna affect you. So if you say you can't do something, you're setting limitations on yourself, or you're saying you'll only be with this type of partner. You're setting your limitations, and of course you can have preferences, but the whole point of this video is to break all those limitations and not have anything at all, and just to be open as a book, an open book, and have unlimited realities, possibilities, because that's what God is. And or you could say gods, however you like to say it. And it's unlimitedness, unlimited energy, living forever, consciousness. You can, I guess you can also call this liberation and awakening, but we're just going to be breaking your limitations, especially when I was younger. So like maybe the song, maybe I made a song and thought that I sucked, or could have been better, or I should have done this about it, or something about that. That's all right. I should have just kept pushing through it and kept going and break those limitations. And this comes in all sorts of things, because once you set your limitations on something, a thought in your head, and whatever it is, restriction, and you say you can't do this, basically, then that's going to be limiting yourself. So if you say you can never run a mile, then you're never going to do it, and then you're going to limit yourself. And a great example, kind of, is this girl that I've seen named Blue, and she was giving a TED Talk, basically talking about how a limit in her head was, for some reason, whether it was society or herself, she was going against all her fears, basically, which is a limitation, and that she had in her head. And she wanted to shave her head, basically, and she had a full head of hair, long hair, and so she shaved it, and she got past that, and she may have felt liberated, she may have felt better, maybe she just wanted to do it. But the whole point is it all starts in your head. So she had a limited belief in her head, talking about she can't shave her head, people are going to make fun of her, society is going to say something, people are going to judge her, yada yada yada. And the thing about that is, she didn't even need to go shave her head. Maybe she did have to go through all that, but all she has to do is not pay attention to her thoughts, or get over that thought, or get that thought out of her head. Or you could watch the thoughts, or just, because if you just look in the reality, there's times, if you catch them, that you'll have no thoughts, and you can stay in that phase too with no thoughts. And also you can watch your thoughts, or just not pay attention to your thoughts, override them. There's multiple ways to do it. It's actually countless ways. And once you get past this, then you won't have limitations on yourself. So, and it's all right, because eventually, once you get past these limitations, you'll maybe have some set preferences about certain things, or see things in a different perspective, and overcome more obstacles, have more possibilities, and just overall, you're just going to have more life inside of you, and you'll be able to enjoy in life more. So like somebody that doesn't ever want to break something, like a schedule or something, they're always on the schedule, hard-headed person, and they just keep following it all the day, and they do the same things every day. Eventually, probably they're going to burn out or get sick of it, or maybe they're not doing what they actually want to do. So that's a problem in itself. But a lot of people set limitations on themselves. Like, let's say you want to move, but you're only looking at one area, and you keep looking at that one area. Well, nothing's popping up in that area, but you could move in the neighborhood next to it or a little further from it, and it gets a better deal, have better neighbors, or have a better environment or house, etc. Who knows? You could meet someone, and they could know someone that has a house in the area you want. And usually it actually happens like that. Basically, it's kind of like a lot of times when you're headed in a direction, it happens that way, but it happens not the way you think it's going to happen. It kind of happens indirect for the most part. Another great example is when you're looking for a partner and you have like some set preferences, or you think somebody's like this, which you can get a good read if you're good at reading from the beginning and tell how it's going to be. And but the thing is if you had a lot of possibilities, what I notice is someone who's, you can ask a person about a car and maybe he studied cars, but let's just say for the case of it, we're talking about cars and vehicles, and this person's only had one car his entire life, and he's only had it, it's his first car, he's only had it for a couple years. Or you go talk to the mechanic who's fit, or a car salesman who's been messing with cars his whole entire life. You're gonna have more experience and more chance through the mechanic, and more possibilities, and because they have not just had one car, they have had multiple cars, different models in different years. They're gonna have more variety. Same thing where I was getting at though with the partner. You have one girlfriend and you're gonna be set on that person, and it can be a boyfriend too, whatever, your significant other, and you're with that person and you think that's the only person, and if they leave, it's the end of the world. Well, you might be with your twin flame or your soulmate, but to be honest with you, most people aren't. And then most people aren't happy with themselves, so you can't be happy with someone else anyway. Anyways, the move beyond that, there's other people out there. It's not just that person. So it's better to date, if you're looking for somebody, to date multiple people and find and see what you really like. Who's gonna know what they want? The person who's only been in one relationship since high school, which I'm not saying that's not possible and that could have worked out perfectly, but but let's say you break up from that, then you're gonna be so maybe confused, which isn't a bad thing, and maybe you could be worried or have anxiety. You're not gonna know who to talk to, what to do, for some people, not everybody. And you're not going to know what you want or where to go or what to do. But the person who breaks up with people all the time and has a bunch of different people all the time and have some awareness, they're going to know what they like. They're going to know how to handle a relationship more so than other people, for the most part. It can go both ways no matter what I say, but for generally and for most people in population, there is a saturation, and it's lopsided on this dynamic of limiting yourself, for sure. Because once you start these limits, oh, I can't do that, I can't go there, I can never do that. Those are just some examples, but it goes beyond that too. You won't try things, and usually when people try things, they break out and do a bunch of different things, become such a better person. They never know, it changes their life in a whole different direction. They never know. That's fine if you tried something, if you didn't like it, or if you don't want to try something at all, that's fine. But you want to break these limitations you have on yourself, because a lot of things that there's been a few, because I wouldn't say I had a lot of limitations, but there's been a few that I've kind of had like thoughts, some things about, and maybe they were true, maybe I was right about them, or felt the way, or they happened the way I thought they were going to happen. But still, there were some things that I got to see more perspective, and maybe some things I even enjoyed that I didn't think I was going to like at all. But more so, what we're talking about is the limitations in the mind, and I'm going to end this video soon. You just don't want those limitations in your mind. You know what I mean? So other things like, oh, I can only eat raw food. That could be one. Or I'm only going to do this type of exercise. But you're not stretching. There's always two sides to something. yeah, so it's hard to say because there's so many examples of this, and it'd be better if there was a question on the end specifically. But those are some examples of, as I stated. So subscribe to the channel, and just when you have those thoughts in your head, be aware of them. Be aware they're not real. You can overcome them. You can override them. You don't. You can watch them. You can get those thoughts out of your head and plant new seeds, and that way you have possibilities. Because someone who is rigid there is few people who do that, have a strict schedule, maybe a military person, a Marine, someone who's really specialized in that, someone very special. But for the most part, that doesn't happen for people. When people are open, when you're open to situations, let's just say, for example, I'm going to shoot a music video and something happened. Well, that doesn't mean I can't go shoot the music video anymore. I can overcome that obstacle or situation and look for a way around it and continue to shoot the music video. Maybe something else happened. I can still keep making it happen, because it's not gonna happen the way you think it is, and you gotta keep trying to make it happen and keep going in that direction for whatever it is that you're trying to do, and see all the possibilities. Because honestly, the best possibility is endless possibilities. Kind of like the story of the boy Icarus in the Greek mythology, where the guy didn't think he could fly, and he finally did fly, but he flew too close to the sun and he burned up. But yeah, that's a different story, I guess. But it is similar into it. So have a nice day. Subscribe to the channel.